Supraways mean solar, urban, personal, rapid, autonomous systems. The idea is to give back the ground and time to urban dwellers. We know about this. Mayor of Amsterdam was talking about the high-density cities we have. We are beating records of congestion and pollution every year. And the offer today in public transit is practically 95% at grade. So we've got danger, and we have very slow commercial speeds. So it's time now to find out new ways, new infrastructures to let people go rapidly in the cities, but in a sustainable way. I mean, that will something that will bring socially something to people, more comfort, less danger, and that economically could be profitable. And so all the stations are offline. It's very critical because like this, you can go from A to B anywhere in the network, no stop. So your trip will be 50, 60 kilometers per hour. Then the second thing you can see is a solar canopy. We will bring new energies, new renewable energies inside the concept in order to have a short circuit and feed the batteries. So we are talking about networks, not lines. The aerial mode with a pillar every 30 meters is enabling people to build the infrastructure in a very fast way, and we don't hurt the city. It's a completely autonomous concept with V2X communication between vehicles and a fleet management that will reposition all the empty vehicles in real time in order to capture the demand. So offer adapts to demand in real time. It's an on-demand system. Our competitive advantage, first of all, you will be sat on a chair with a belt because of high speeds, and we want a maximum safety. This system will be also used by logistics people because the last mile for freight and waste is a nightmare today in every city in the world. So we will open this infrastructure to them. Speed, maximum capacity, which is very interesting because we will have vehicles every 3 to 5 seconds in the first versions. Our end objective is to go to 1 second between vehicles. What you do with your car at the end. But that will enable people to use this high-capacity system. Our way to think the infrastructure is a low-cost way. So the idea is to go down to 8 million euros per kilometer, which is 3 times less than a tramway, just to give you an idea, a comparison. And our revenue model will be diversified, as we will use it for freight, but also for the police, for ambulances, etc. So we want to have a profitable model. To compare in France, when we buy a ticket, we just pay 15% of the global cost of ownerships in transit, urban transit. We are now working in a city near from Versailles, near from Paris, 25 kilometers from here. The name is Saint-Quentin-Yvelines. We studied for them last year 125 kilometers track. And we are now, this year, ending a study for a 9-kilometer pilot system, 7 stations, that should be built in 2022. This is the objective. We will pass along 3 Olympic Games sites. So we just took an idea, a sentence from Victor Hugo. Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come, and we think that it's time for us to bring this solution to the market. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, take a seat. Right, I'm going to move straight on to Pierre. Pierre?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for sharing this discussion with us. I'm part of Accenture. I'm the lead for mobility and transportation for Europe. And these are really interesting times. And being all together today with the cities, startups and consultants like me is really a thrill because we do have a lot of issues and we have the same issues on our own agenda, in fact. We are speaking a lot about passengers, about how to create new experience. That's true. We have new technologies and new transportations possibilities like Supraways, Hyperloop, light rail solution, etc. But we do have also issues with cargo and freight. In fact, for instance, in France, the growth rate, the annual growth rate for transportation of goods is between 2 and 3%. So it means that by 2040, the traffic on the road will double. That's an issue. The e-commerce is a huge growth too. So it means that we are delivering goods every day, more and more frequently, in our cities, downtowns, which are already crowded. And so, first and last mile is an issue too. And we need to share, we need to connect goods, passengers, we need to connect and to share infrastructures and vehicles too. And that's why we need to connect dots quite quickly. The traffic is booming. We do have all these issues on our agenda. These are the same, and we are partners in finding solutions together.
Listen. You mentioned Hyperloop. I have to say, what do you think? I'd love to hear what you think on Hyperloop. Is it a fad? Is it here to stay? What do you think?
Hyperloop is interesting for me at 3 levels. First, as itself, it's a thrill for everybody in the industry. Even SNCF has put money in Hyperloop to develop new technologies, new business model, etc. Right now, it's clear that, yes, we'll do Hyperloop in the coming years. We do have projects in Abu Dhabi, in India, and so on. What is less shared is that the business model is really special. And when you compare, for instance, with France, with very high speed and TGV, in fact, Hyperloop is more or less between 1,400 to 1,500 passengers per hour. And when with a single multiple units duplex, it's 500 passengers. So it means that you can have today between 3 to 4 times the same capacity on the same line. So Hyperloop will be part of the solution. It's not the solution.
Okay, thank you so much. What we're going to do now is move on. You okay? Clicker. What we're going to move on to Jordan. Jordan Rama, tell us, what are you doing?
Thanks, Peter. I run a company called EV Connect. We're a software platform that manages electric vehicle charging and the various ecosystems and the components around it. I want to talk about innovation quickly as it relates to sustainable mobility, but specifically e-mobility, because that's what we're focused on, is electrifying the various components of the transportation system and helping support that through the fueling of those vehicles. And what happens is when you decentralize fueling with electricity, unlike what we've seen with centralized fueling for the last 100 years, you create a myriad of different ways that vehicles need to be fueled, and connecting those fueling locations to the places that people visit, as opposed to forcing people to visit a location to fuel their car, like the petrol station. And so when you eliminate that centralized method, you end up with this very randomized way of fueling a vehicle, and you need to manage that in a very different way. And that's what we've done. We've built a platform for the ongoing management of fueling infrastructure in this decentralized fashion. But it's not without challenges. If we're as a society going to meet numbers like this over the next 10 to 15 years, there are going to be challenges, and innovation is going to be what drives that. And I'm here to talk very briefly about how innovation will be driven in large part by the software platforms that will provide the underlying support for this innovation. A very short story. How many people have ever heard of the IBM Simon smartphone? Nobody, neither have I. But we have heard of the BlackBerry, and it took almost 7 years for that phone to come about. and it was a great niche product. It was a one-to-one relationship between the user and the phone, and it didn't last very long. 10 years ago, now everyone, I can almost guarantee everyone in this audience has an Android or an iPhone, and that was only 10 years ago. Those platforms have completely changed it completely changed the telecommunication market. Well, innovation like that kind of change must happen in e-mobility, and it will happen through software platforms. I have an Android phone, and I have for 10 years. As an Android user, think about the innovation that's happened and the services that have been deployed. Uber, Waze, Snapchat. Those innovations didn't exist just a few years ago and wouldn't have existed without a platform that could support that innovation and change. And so when you start to look at the various opportunities associated with these platforms, that's where we're going to get the change that we need to get to where we want to go from an e-mobility and a sustainability standpoint. And so EV Connect has built a platform that enables networks of charging infrastructure and users and utilities and automakers to collaborate together to be able to provide sustainable mobility solutions through electrification. And we've done that now across the world, mostly focused on North America to date, but we've done that with leading customers, the largest government utility in the United States, the second largest transit operator, the Los Angeles Metro, one of the largest hotel operators with Hilton worldwide, and we're doing it more and more. And so I guess what I'm going to leave you here with very limited time is, how would you, with a question I want to leave you, how would you use a software platform to innovate? Think about that and what has happened over the last 10 years. Thank you.
Jordan, thank you so much. Listen, we have come to the end of this short and sweet, very short and sweet session at the end of Sustainable Mobility session this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together, thanking our panelists here, Claude, Pierre, and Jordan. Thank you so much.